Escape. I am CJ Peterson, and my co-host, see if I can point the right direction, author Michael Scott Clifton, because it's a reverse thing. It's kind of fun. Welcome to Book World: The Great Escape. Today we're going to be talking to author Larry Hoy, and we're going to be talking urban paranormal. But before we get there, Mike, how was your week?
It was an interesting one, to say the least. Last Saturday, I was at the Avenger Wine Festival. Uh, by the way, Larry, wine festivals are great venues to go to as authors, especially after about an hour and a half of wine sipping, and you become a very good writer. Anyway, uh, the uh, the interesting part is, as most people around here are familiar with, we had a spate of tornadoes and bad weather that came through Friday night. And we had to go through a little community called Hugh Springs to get to an even smaller community, which is Avenger. And the tornado had gone right through the middle of Hugh Springs. And we got there the next morning and took about 5, 10, 15 minutes just to get through that stretch of road in Hugh Springs because there's trees down on the left and the right. Looks like a giant just went through the swatting them down left and right. Um, but the thing I found that was, that was really heartwarming in the midst of all that tragedy, there were people lined up in cars and trucks all alongside the road helping to clear and cut down the trees, which, Hugh Springs got a great community of spirit. So at Avenger Wine Festival, did a real, Patty Wiseman, another fellow author, she was there as well. We did real good, had a good time. Wasn't quite as uh, populated as it was in previous years. I think because, of course, the tornado affected that whole area, and I think people had a hard time getting there. And Tuesday night, I got reelected to the Chapel Hill School Board. So either congratulations or condolences, as the case may be. And then this Saturday will be the Deck the Halls event, which is here in Mount Pleasant at the Titus County Civic Center. And I've been doing this for 4 or 5 years. Nancy Hudgens was supposed to do that with me, CJ, but she had back surgery and she hasn't recovered enough to do that. We normally share a table or a booth, so I'll be there by my lonesome, so to speak. But I always have a good time at that. See a lot of local people from Mount Pleasant, and being close to Christmas, it's a good. I usually do pretty good on book sales. So, like I said, it's been an interesting week. So, thank you for asking.
Well, for me, the reason we couldn't have Book World last week was my father-in-law passed away on Monday, so we spent most of it in New York State, celebrating the life of my husband's dad, Jerry Orth. So that was nice. I think he would have been very pleased. But that's the reason why we did not have Book World last week. So thank you for those who knew and were thinking of us and praying for us. Also on Thursday night, we had the launch for the anthology for Texas Sisters Press. That launch went very successful. There were 11 different authors and tons of prizes were given away, including a grand prize, a family pack. And so that's always fun. It's a great way to kick off the holiday season. Due to the fact that we had to shift things around, next week what we're going to do, instead of what we had scheduled, we're going to move the holiday advertising to next Wednesday. So for those who are interested in it, that was supposed to be on the 2nd of November. It's going to be on the 16th. So next week we're going to be talking about holiday advertising, how to do it, easy ways, little tips and tricks on how to get, the word out about your advertising, and some dates you need to keep in mind, especially as authors, regarding different sales and stuff. So that's going to be coming on there. So in the meantime, Larry, welcome to Book World.
Thank you.
Can you tell us, first of all, how would you define urban paranormal?
All right. As it works with me, my understanding, if you've ever seen that TV series Supernatural, with the two boys who die and never die and come back, and Urban Paranormal. For the people who haven't seen that, Scooby-Doo, Urban Paranormal. And when the streams cross, it only gets better.
Oh, you never crossed the stream.
That's bad. No.
I think even they did it. Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
That was my
man.
favorite episode. Well, okay, truthfully, it's the only episode I saw with the supernatural. Whenever they went into Scooby Doo world, that was the best.
Oh,
Funny.
that's
So what
funny.
got you into urban paranormal?
All right. So, what got me into urban paranormal? My buddy and I, Bill Webb, we wrote this thriller series about assassins hunting out bad guys and putting bullets in them. And we had I was going to release them as like a little thin serial trade paperback type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Bill took it to a publisher and said, "You know what would be great? Let's turn this into a book series." Publisher said, "Do it." He said, "But I got one question. Tell me about the magic in your system." "Magic in my system? This is assassins with guns." "Yeah, but wouldn't it be cool if they were fighting monsters?"
Mm-hmm.
So when your publisher asked you, "Tell me about the monsters and the magic," and like, "Oh, okay, well, yeah, we've got that."
Now you can make it up real fast.
So it was an easy fit. If you've ever read the Monster Hunter International, we ended up going very similar to Larry Correa's type of world. There are monsters in the world out there. It's a really small step when you're already hunting bad guys and putting a bullet in them.
Mm-hmm.
Giving the bad guys a little bit of supernatural, yeah, that's a really easy step to make.
So how did your characters jump into that world?
So what we did, not only are these guys assassins, murder assassination is legal as long as you're licensed. I don't have my badge here, but it's kind of like John Wick, except we're not hiding in the closet. We've got a badge. We're legal to go. And like I said, it's a supernatural type of thing. So we're running around here, and we gave our main assassins a special little tweak, something that sets them apart. Hit World, it's written like the Marvel universe. All the main characters tell their own story. Bill, the guy that started the world with me, he writes the old grizzled veteran, Derek Steed, and he's got this magical ability. When he pulls a trigger, somebody falls down. He doesn't miss. He's also got spider senses, so you can't sneak up on him. I went the other way. I write the rookie, Luther Sweetwater, because I'm a rookie author and, Bill is a veteran author. So I write the rookie, Luther Sweetwater, and he's got a problem. He sees dead people. And it's not good when you're an assassin, when it's your job to put people in the ground and then you're haunted by the ghosts. He doesn't, it's not a happy thing for him. He's constantly getting pushed around and getting pulled around by these ghosts. He's just now learning to get control of it. The first book, it's not a happy experience. He struggles with them. In the second book, he's sort of getting control of it. The ghosts aren't haunting him super. And I've just finished up the edit or the rough draft on my third book, and now he's actually using interviewing the ghosts and trying to pull information from them. So he's growing in his powers, growing in his abilities.
Mm-hmm.
So Larry, we exchange books.
Yes, thank you.
So which book is this in the three that you've written?
So
it's
that
one,
is
2, or 3.
That's book 2. The first book in, like I said, the Hit World series, they're all standalone novels. It's like Marvel. You don't have to read Iron Man to read Thor. So one guy in my group writes Derek Steed, Bill writes Steed, I write Luther Sweetwater, the red labels. Okay. So the first book came out was Bullet for Shooter. This is Luther's origin story. And the one you've got, Demon's Kiss, is the second in the series. And I introduced Demon's Kiss like it's similar to Liam Neeson's Taken movie. It was like, yeah, I've got your daughter, and right. So the only difference between Taken is we drop the French mafia, we add a Mexican cartel run by a demigod his sister, the succubus, that's her right there on the cover.
Mm.
Throw in a chupacabra werewolf, a couple flesh golems for flavor, and we just have fun with it. Push it over the edge.
Right.
Why not? Make it big. Go
Well,
all out.
Well, I'm a little over halfway through, and it is a great book.
Thank you.
We do book reviews here on Book World, and when I finish, of course, we have other book reviews scheduled, but I will be doing a book review on your second book, Demon's Kiss, uh, and we'll let you know, when we have that scheduled. But
Absolutely. You're right.
so in your novel, the company that they belong to you have the abbreviation of LEI, which stands for Life Enders Incorporated, correct?
Correct.
Is that
correct.
right? Correct. And I mean, I like that. Life Enders Incorporated, LEI.
Well,
And
it was a small step. How we did this is like in Bullet for Shooter, the first book. 9/11 happens, and we crank it up. It's even worse. So the
Right.
government's crippled. They're trying to get their feet back under them. Well, a group of mercenaries from Texas jump on a boat, go to the Middle East, grab Osama bin Laden by the ear, put a bullet in his head, do it on national TV. And they come back to America. Listen, we love America. We love the military, but it takes a while to get things moving, get them up to speed. Let us be your immediate solution, Blackwater type of thing.
right.
So let us be your immediate solution. And the government says, okay, life enders. And they said, hey, you got a mass murderer running around town. Call us. We'll enact some justice on them. Okay, that makes sense. Let's
So
be fair. Some people.
Paranormal version of Equalizer?
Exactly. And let's be fair. So then they get some people just need killing.
Yes.
All us.
I'm
No
with
collateral damage.
I need to get some of these books then, I think. Go ahead.
They just go away. And so that's how Life Enders started. We worked with the government, and the government said, yes, you guys are an absolute need. And here's a list of target. Oh, okay, yeah. We got you. So that's how Life Enders got started. And that's how we are walking around in America, putting bullets in bad people.
My daughter's sitting here and she's laughing at us because she knows that a lot of my author friends are just slightly twisted, but that's okay.
Well, your character, Luke Sweetwater, kind of reminds me of a Jack Reacher type in the sense that, he's all business, no nonsense, isn't really fearless, obviously, but also gifted in ways. But of course, with your character, he has that twist, as you've described, being able to see dead people.
He sees dead people, and it's not a happy thing. So yeah, Luther, he went to the Marine Corps to be a slightly violent, maybe not. That's twisted. He went to the Marine Corps, learned to be a sniper, wanted to be a hero, defend America. He was part of. He was on the ground when 9/11 happened. So in the Marine Corps, he went to basic, never saw action. Realized that Life Ender is now where the heroes are. So he joined Life Enders, an assassin group, a mercenary group, to become a hero, to defend America. Okay. And then he started getting these jobs where he had to justify putting a bullet in somebody, and it's not like video games. He had to struggle with that for a while.
So where do you get your ideas for the paranormal side of this?
I'm a biker also, and I spend a lot of time on the road with people in cars trying to kill me. And I bring up the most inside. We keep all this inside. The most destructive ways of terrorizing somebody and putting them down. And to be fair, I read a lot of Stephen King growing up. It might have had some influence on me.
As long as you're sensitivity plus, you're good.
Of course, the definition of dead is a little bit fluid, isn't it?
Well, yeah, they're dead. They're just mostly dead. Mostly dead.
Yes.
Is that kind of like Headless Nick, where it's not quite, but just almost?
Yeah. Well, that was the Princess Bride, where you got Miracle Max. Your friend's just mostly dead. Mostly dead. He'll be alive. When he's all dead, all you just do is search his pockets for loose change. That's
never mind. Totally twisted.
Well, Larry, we met at the Spa Con in Hot Springs, Arkansas,
Yeah, so
and
much fun.
so you do attend. We both attend, as well as CJ, a lot of Comic Cons. So if someone was to cross paths with you at a Comic Con and wanted to get a personally signed autographed book, do you have any events coming up that they might cross your path at the Comic Con?
In 2 weeks, the November 18, 19, 20, I think it is, 2 weeks, I'll be at the MCFC, Memphis Fantasy and Comic MCF Convention. Comic and Fantasy Convention. That's it. Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention, MCFC. I'll be out there. And then I'm done for the year. I've been at cons all across America. But I'm getting ready for a potential move to Alaska because I'm an idiot, and so I'm
Are you sure you're planning to
everything.
go to Alaska?
All the cons are on a tentative basis right now. Or 2023 is tentative, so I don't know what the world's going to be after that.
I see.
So, do you plan on continuing with this series, or are you shifting any type to different genre? What else piques your interest?
I'm going to keep trying, or I'm going to keep populating Hit World. Like I said, I just finished up the rough draft on book 3. Comes after Demon's Kiss. It's going to be Skinwalker's Touch. Going to go in that direction, and I've also for my daughters, they're encouraging me to do a fantasy series about dragons. We've got dragons in this house.
I noticed the skull behind you there.
That's Ernest right there. Yeah.
Uh,
And they're wanting their own series that they're going to help me with.
Oh, neat.
So yeah, it's going to be a family group project going forward.
That sounds cool. So, for urban fantasy, if somebody wanted to jump into that genre, what advice would you give them?
Don't let anybody tell you the rules. For me, I didn't even know I was going urban paranormal, urban fantasy until it was done. But there's so much out there. Everything is completely wide open. There's another really good urban fantasy example out there. I'm completely brain. He's a detective. He's a magician, wizard, and I'm completely
the Dresden Files.
Dresden. That's it.
Dresden Files. Yeah,
I love that series too. So yeah, but see, that one's got magic. Mine's got monsters. Monster Hunter International. It's got a little bit of everything in there. So urban paranormal, really the only thing that you have to do is, instead of taking a fantasy world where there's elves and satyrs, you bring them into our world. Harry Potter, the Harry Potter series, that's an urban paranormal because it's based in our time frame, and then we're going to add to it.
So, technically, I have a series that I call the Team Angel series, where the spiritual warfare, where it deals with them on this plane of existence.
Mm-hmm.
So that's actually urban fantasy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just you're just looking at the time zone. What time period is it? Is it loosely based in our time period? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Larry, do you have your books edited? Do you have people you trust that read the book ahead of time, like, for example, your daughters, the manuscript, I should say, prior to publication?
Yes, for both. I have, for the Hit World series, I run it through Chris Kennedy Publications, Chris Kennedy Press. He sets me up with some of the best editors in the field because I need them. I've got a couple people that read my books through the various stages as it's growing its way through. My brother, my daughters, and I've got a critique group that takes a peek at them. But yeah, Chris does most of the heavy lifting with the editors. But everything Hit World goes through Chris Kennedy Press. I've worked with a couple other presses out there, but I think the fantasy one that I'm working with the daughters, that might be just us. So fingers crossed on that.
Well, the reason I ask you is, like I said, I've read, and I know CJ has obviously as well. I've read a lot of books by indie authors,
Mm-hmm.
and some are, and they vary. Some are really good, some are not so good, and sometimes I'm not an editing type. I got to. I tell everybody all the time. When I was a sophomore or junior in college, I got a C minus in English one and a C minus in English two, and
Right.
I framed my grade because I was so proud of it. It was worth its weight in gold as far as I'm concerned. So, I'm not bent in that direction, but I can tell you, and the reason I ask you that question is because your book is really well written. And
Thank
when
you.
I say well written, it's not just the grammatical part, which to me, unless it really interferes, it's really bad where it interferes with the flow of the story or the characters, whatever. I don't really pay that much attention to, but your characters and your storyline, even though this is the second book in the series, uh, I I could pick it up as a standalone novel, which you had said earlier, that you kind of write them that way. And while I didn't know the complete background, it was easy to follow the story, and it didn't really slow me down any. And so you've done a very good job in your book and your writing and the way you present the story with your characters and all that. So kudos for that.
Thank you. Thank you. I've had a lot of good mentors over the years. Bill Webb has taught me so much. Chris Kennedy, he brought me up and helped me to become one of the core, one of the crew at Chris Kennedy Press. But it takes in my world, it takes a village. You were saying you struggled twice. I on my business cards, I address myself as Larry Hoy, biker writer legend. The reason we have legend is I barely got out of high school because of English. I stopped taking spelling tests because they stopped wanting to grade them. It took me 4 tries to get out of English 1 in college. And I finally got a passing grade on the condition I never tell anybody what college gave me a passing grade. I flunked out of poetry class in high school. And you were saying you had a Christmas anthology. I have a published poem and horror story, Christmas horror story, in the Shadows of Bethlehem. So I flunked out of poetry, but I am a published poet.
Nice.
I reached out to my old high school teacher and I said, "Hey, you remember that F you gave me? Look, I'm published."
See, and that's kind of unique for both of you because usually authors are better at English than they are like math and science. You're telling us you're the opposite.
Well, yeah. Well, if you have a good story, and CJ, I've repeated this many times. It doesn't matter how grammatically accurate you are, or even how polished you are as a writer. If you don't have a good story, you're dead in the water. That's where your skill starts and ends. That you have to have a good story that people want to read. And so, and like I said, I really about 2/3 of the way through it, Larry, but I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I had no problems following your storyline, despite the fact that I had not read the first book.
So I'm going to jump in here for a quick question. So did you say that you were actually co-writing these series with somebody else?
We've got in the Hit World series, we've got our 8th novel just came out, 2 anthologies. So each anthology had maybe a dozen authors. And we've got 7 actual novels written by 7 different authors. Like I said, in Hit World, each author is responsible for their main character. So somebody writes Iron Man, somebody else writes Thor, I write the rookie. Luther belongs to me. He's my guy. But yeah, there's a bunch of us in the Hit World universe, and you'll see a lot of the characters crossing over from story to story. But yeah, we've got a lot of people that have given us or brought their characters into the fold.
So how difficult is that? Because if you're writing a story, it might contradict somebody else's story that's getting ready to be published, or that they're trying to write. Because when you're dealing with authors, some are planners and some are pantsers.
Mhm.
Some could sit down and just write the sucker. Some have to like plan it out. And how do they do that if they don't have all the information? Do you understand what I'm asking?
Yeah. So every novel actually comes through me. I am the top of the pyramid. Bill and I work it together. He handles all the important stuff, and then I read through all the stories to make sure nobody steps on anybody's toes. But most of our characters, or most of the assassins, you pick your city, and okay, well, that's your city, your problem. I work out of Memphis, or Luther. He works out of Memphis and out of Dallas. Those are his two home territories. But
so that way they don't cross and you don't have issues.
right.
Nice good way of doing it. Okay, well, we have a few minutes left. Is there any like little gold nugget that you'd like to add for any aspiring authors out there?
I've always heard the if you can do anything else, do it. There is no slower way to make lunch money than writing a book.
Sure.
But once you've done it, it was something I dreamed about doing since I was just a wee little lad, being an author, and there is no greater fix than seeing your name in ink. It is the thing that just struck me and brought me into this world. I've got a dozen short stories, novelettes out there in the world, and then just 2 novels in ink and 1 just getting polished up right now. So it's just been a heck of a ride.
Awesome.
And I am 1 lottery ticket away from being a full-time author.
Yeah, I do it by jumping into the other hats when it regards to the publishing world. But yeah, no, you don't write a book to make money.
Right.
No, you write it for the passion and for the joy. Well, thank you so much, Larry, for coming on today. You've been a real treat to talk to. For anybody interested, you can go to larryhoy.net. That's LARRYHOY.net. And you can check out his books there. Mike, thanks for bringing him on. So,
Mike, it's great seeing you again. Hot Springs is great. I'm going to try and get out there again next year. And I'm going to clue you in on that German restaurant when we get out there.
Okay. Yeah.
El Primo beer.
Yeah. Good.
So my daughter just wrote me something. She said, y'all are basically glorified serial killers without a prison sentence.
You write what you know.
We're just going to leave it at that because I'm known as a literary assassin as well. So, it's that way. In the meantime, thank you guys for watching Book World: The Great Escape. I'm CJ Peterson. My cohort over there is author Michael Scott Clifton. Stay tuned next week on November 16th, where we're going to be talking holiday advertising tips and tricks on how to do it for those who are also trying to just kind of wade into the whole holiday advertising thing, how to take advantage of it without being lost in the shuffle. So until next time, thank you guys for watching Book World: The Great Escape. We'll catch you next week.